Hello, welcome back to Blender Sushi Live Coding. I've been wanting to talk about how to make the kind of like a snail house or periwinkle shell. Um, yeah, so this is actually quite interesting. It's quite simple to make, but yeah, the detail can be quite tricky. But in a nutshell, this is actually quite simple, and three nodes actually responsible for this. If you can guess, I'm using the ngon, and there's a spiral and bevel, a curve. So it's almost like it's just a sweep, right? And a sweep along curve, which is in this case the spiral, and we just use this ngon, and I can reduce or increase the number of ngon. I can get rid of subdivision and solidify for now. So back to the original, and let's take a look. So the radius of ngon, so that's kind of like increasing or decreasing the scale for everything. We have the size of ngon. We can actually randomize the ngon if you like. So that gives a kind of unusual result. But spiral is the one doing the hard job in this case also. So spiral, of course, give this spiral look, interior and exterior. There's a lot of preset here you can try. Exponent. So there's a turn, scale, height. So that's if you want that. And face, arm if you want to have multiple arm. In this case you don't want. This is almost like a little bit like tentacle as well. So so here we have bevel curve, and we have a lot of inputs coming in. So the ngon goes in, of course, and then spiral goes in there. There's this option, taper vertices, and this one is actually this curve over here. So the step actually quite easy to understand, but the one that's really interesting is this taper vertices. So it's taper the spiral thing, and I have a bunch of things over here that's actually similar to the previous video. So it's basically kind of resembling the curve. So whatever I change the curve in y-axis will influence the thickness of this snail shell. But I need to have the playback running, and I can just control, you see the end part of this snail, and also the scale of the other endpoint and everything in the middle. So I have full control for that using this curve. So that's basically it with this. Of course, details can be added to make it more like a shell of the snail, and the inside, if we want to be really accurate and detailed, it's possible. Maybe there's another method to make this, but this is actually an interesting one. And you can actually play around with things like, so if I play around with the period of this, you're gonna end up with something completely different. You can play around with face, and okay, we have control over what is this, the resembling. Okay. Oh, by the way, this is actually quite interesting. If I reset this very quickly, well, did I reset it? Period of 1. Should be 2. Okay. If I set this to 1, it's gonna close the endpoint. Let me reopen. So I always have the original. And look at this. If I set this number range to 1, it will close. Suddenly you have this kind of warm. But if you have a bit of value down, it's going to be open. And the endpoint, I think, can be sharper. But anyway, I don't use 0 there. So we have also control, of course, the step. Yeah, I think it's interesting. Anyways, interesting setup. It's very basic, but it's useful, and I want to share it with you guys. Hopefully this is useful. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.